The man accused of killing a top Minnesota Democratic lawmaker and her husband is due to change plea. Add AP News as your preferred source to see more of our stories on Google. Add AP News on Google. Add AP News as your preferred source to see more of our stories on Google. Share Minneapolis app. The man charged in the political assassinations of the top Democrat in the Minnesota House and her husband, as well as the attempted murders of a state senator and his wife, is due to appear in federal court Thursday to change his not guilty plea after federal prosecutors said they would not seek the death penalty against him. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Minneapolis notified the court Wednesday that the Justice Department would not seek the death penalty against Vance Bolter in accordance with a proposed plea agreement. Bolter's attorneys did not immediately respond to an email seeking comment. The court filing did not detail the terms of the plea agreement. Former Minnesota House Speaker Melissa Hortman and her husband, Mark Hortman, and State Sen. John Hoffman and his wife, Yvette Hoffman, were shot by a man who came to their doors in the early hours of June 14, 2025, disguised as a police officer and driving a fake squad car. The Hortman's golden retriever was so gravely injured that he had to be euthanized. Bolter, 58, was captured near his home in rural Green Isle late the next day after what prosecutors have called the largest search for a suspect in Minnesota history. He faces federal and state murder, attempted murder, and other charges. His state case has been on hold pending the resolution of his federal charges. Minnesota abolished capital punishment in 1911 and has never had a federal death penalty case. Daniel Borgia-Coping, a spokesperson for the Hennepin County Attorney's Office, said the federal plea deal would not affect Bolter's state charges. Read more. While the Trump administration has pushed for greater use of capital punishment, there were questions about whether Bolter's case would qualify for the death penalty under federal law. Prosecutors have called the shootings political. When they announced the federal indictment in July, they released a rambling handwritten letter they say Bolter wrote to FBI Director Kash Patel in which he confessed to the attacks. However, the letter didn't make clear why he targeted the Hortmans or the Hoffmans. In some messages to media, Bolter referenced a vague and cryptic investigation he had been carrying out, sometimes suggesting it was about the COVID-19 vaccine. Sign up for Morning Wire. Our flagship newsletter breaks down the biggest headlines of the day. Email address. Sign up by checking this box. You agree to AP's terms of use and acknowledge that AP may collect and use your data pursuant to our privacy policy. Friends described Bolter as an evangelical Christian and occasional preacher and missionary who held politically conservative views and had been struggling to find work. John Hoffman said in a lawsuit filed against Bolter in April that his left arm and hand likely would never fully recover, and that he also had permanent injuries to his digestive and urinary systems. Yvette Hoffman was left with permanent physical weakness, the lawsuit said, while their adult daughter, Hope Hoffman, who was there and called 911 but was not shot, suffered severe psychological trauma.